All right, in this lesson, let's learn about the Jupyter Notebook. The Jupyter Notebook is our IDE. An IDE is an integrated development environment. It's where we're going to write our code. How do we get there? For Windows, let's come over here and type in CMD and hit enter. And let's type in Jupyter Notebook and hit enter again. And now we're going to get the home page. Let's see, it says home and it's a URL. And in order to open up a clean notebook, we come here and we come here, we navigate to Python 2 and we hit OK. And this is a cell and this is our Jupyter Notebook. So the first thing we want to do is let's name it. So we just click on that. Just actually double click. It brings up this dialog box and we'll call this our first, I was going to say Python notebook. We'll say OK. And now we can see it's changed the name to our first Jupyter Notebook, right? So this is a cell, and this is where we type our code. A nice thing about this is we can also document what we're doing. So notice here it says code. If we change this to Markdown, and we come down here, and let's type in, how about a £sign to make it a nice large header. And we'll say, let's get started. Let's get started. And every time we want to execute a cell, we hit the control button and the enter button. And now that's run successfully. All right, now if we want to come up here and run some code, we go to the next cell. This adds a cell. And when we're highlighted here, we don't want the cell, we just delete it. We cut it. The scissors gets rid of it. Right? Let's write some code. Let's import pandas. Pandas is a library as PD. We're going to import pandas. We're going to alias it here as PD. So all we have to type in as PD to be able to use Panda. Control again, enter. It's running. You can see the little asterisks, and now it's finished. You can also run your code up here. Let's put that there and hit the enter. And it will execute and move to the next line. We can move our cells up and down. All right, so let's put our highlight there and let's move the cell down or move it up in that case. Let's move it down. And now we can type something else in here. Let's type in some more documentation. The import means the word import means to bring in to Python, to bring in a library into Python. All right, shift enter, and there we go. All right, so what are some other things we can do if we wanted to stop? We're executing some code and it's taken longer than we anticipated. We can come up here and hit the stop button. Right? We can insert. If we didn't want to add, we can highlight our cell, right, and insert above or below. Right? Let's come up here and type something. Let's say backspace 1 plus 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2, and we hit shift enter, and it gives us the output. Now, let's say we've done this the whole way down. We've got a big long list of code, and we want to clear the output. So let's come up here to cell, current cells, clear. Current output, clear. And that will clear all of our cells. And I promise you'll use that later. That's really a handy feature. All right, we can save anytime you want. This is kind of like forcing a save. It will auto-save every few seconds as you're working through the code. But again, you can force a save anytime you like. All right. Let's move back to the home page for a second. We have what we can see on our home page what notebook is running, or notebooks. So let's come down here and we can see our first Jupyter Notebook is running. So we can highlight on this, right? Click on it, and we can come up here and we could shut it down, turn it completely off, and we could delete it. So let's go ahead and shut it down. Let's go ahead and open it back up. And it'll open up from scratch. Let's say we did this. Let's go Control Enter. This is how you're going to execute if you don't want to continue to hit this all the time. Most people will hit Control Enter. So let's go ahead and Control Enter. And there's 3. So this looks like it's run. And if we were to shut it down, right, it may save this for us. However, if we have a whole bunch of code and we start this again, each cell will have to be run, right? Once we close this window, right, this is our Python server. We close this, it shuts everything down, right? If we come up here and we see this, just like this, it's not been run, it's not been executed. You're going to have to step through the entire process again, right? Or you can run all the cells up here if you like, right? All right, so let's recap. So these are cells, right? In cells, we can type text. We have to come up here and say markdown in order to type some text in here, right? This cell, we have code, and it says code, so we can type some code in there. We can hit Control Enter to execute. We can also hit this little button here to execute, and that'll take you to the next line, right? If we want to come up and cut a cell, we use the scissors to cut a cell. We can easily add a cell by hitting the Add Cell. And if we want to save our entire workspace and we want to force the save, it's called a checkpoint, we hit the Save button. Right? If we want to clear our screen, we come up to Cell and Current Cells, and we clear all the cells. Right? As we go through, I will show you some more hints to work with our notebook, but that really is about it. That's all we need to know to get started building our model.